Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is my 8th, maybe, off the top of my head, probably not, more like 4th, return to YouTube. I wanted to start again. I actually wanted to start in January, but a lot of things were happening in my life, and so I was going to make this big comeback in March, and I filmed, and I filmed, and I filmed, and then I lost all the footage, and I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. So here I am. It's almost June. And I decided, what the heck? I read something. And then hopefully I'm going to read a lot of other somethings. And I don't even know what I'm saying. Yes. This is going to be my almost first half of 2022 wrap up. Like I said, I tried to film in March, so it was just the first 3 months, and then it didn't happen. And so I was in April and May, things were happening and time just flew by, and so here we are. I have to say though, you're going to be seeing more videos from me in the future because there's a lot of things that I want to do. I want to start filming more. And yes, I'm going to start filming because I have the time to film. I just don't take it right now. It is what it is. Let's just jump right into this. Like I said, this is going to be my reading wrap up for the first half of 2022. So January through May, and we're just going to start with January. First thing that I read this year, which I love. No, that's not even true. Love it for me because I've been really into manga again, and that's really exciting. So first thing that I read this year was She and Her Cat. There's a lot that I could say about this book. I gave it a 3 stars. I love the art style. And I wish the story revolved more around just the girl and her cat. And I mean, that is what the story is about, is this girl and her cat, and it's from the cat's point of view, and it's about the cat being in love with this human, basically, and like you see her life through his eyes and how some of it doesn't make sense to him and how he just wishes he could be human so he could be with her, basically. One of my books fell because one of my other books was holding it up, and I have a huge stack of books on my bed. Anyways, I realized I left. The entirety of Livingstone is going to slowly fall over during this video. Okay, I lost my train of thought, and I left something over on the desk. Anyways, it revolves around him wanting to be human so he can actually be with her, but trying to just be satisfied with being a cat and being in her life. There's one thing that I really don't like about this, and that is the fact that the cat is an adult cat and he's in a relationship with a kitten, and I just don't like the connotation, is that the right word there? I just don't like that as a theme. But in a way, it's a really cute story besides that fact, and I like it besides that. So I gave it a 3 stars. I own it. I'm glad to have it in my collection. I love the art style. There's that one part in the story that keeps it from being a 4 star, but that's it. Okay. The next thing I read in January, and the only other thing that I read in January, is The Last Sun. I love this book series. Love it so much. It is one of my all-time favorite book series. I haven't read the 3rd book yet. I haven't even reread the 2nd book yet. I'm going to soon, but I love this book series so much. If you don't know what it is about this magic society, basically. Society, like a whole world where there are magic people, and they kind of have connections to tarot, and it follows the main character Rune, and he is the last living person, technically, not true, the heir of the Sun Throne, the last living heir of the Sun Throne, that's a better way of saying that. And I would describe this as a very, very, very adult Percy Jackson, just the themes and the vibes that it gives off. But don't go into this expecting, like, Percy Jackson, basically. Like, the writing style and the characters remind me of that in a way. But it's very dark. There's very graphic flashbacks to things. There's things that I'm just, like, not comfortable with being like, yes, you should absolutely read this. Because of that, like, take the time to look up the trigger warnings for yourself if you need them. I personally hate trigger warnings with a burning passion. I hate them. Like, I just consider them spoilers for me because they don't trigger me in that way. But yes, it's very, very dark, but I love this series to death. Rune is snarky and awesome and demisexual, and there's like what I describe as a polyamorous relationship, where one half of the polyamorous relationship is queer platonic, and everything about it is awesome. I love this series. Okay, stopping rambling. That is all that I read in January. If you've been around my channel and if I've talked about it before, January is usually my worst reading month. I usually only read 2 things because I get very overstimulated after the holidays, and there's just a lot of winding down that I have to do after that moment. So, yes. Next up, we have February. I actually read quite a bit in February, which is really shocking to me. In February, I first read A Man and His Cat, Volume 2. I love this series a lot. I wish that they had kept up the one thing that I wish they had kept from the first one is I'm pretty sure the first one has magazine paper on the main pages as well, but these are still very, very high quality manga. They're Square Enix, so they're smaller and they're more expensive, but they're good quality things. A Man and His Cat is a story about this man who adopts a cat because his wife always wanted a cat, and then she passed away before they could both get a cat, and so he sees this cat and he's like, I'm gonna adopt that one, and it's just a very bittersweet story about this man becoming very attached to this cat, and it's really adorable and sweet, but also bittersweet. And yeah, it was good though. I loved it. Next, in February, I decided that something that I was going to do was I was going to start collecting manga again. I'm still collecting manga. And the first thing that I did was I finally finished After Hours. If you've been on my channel, you know that After Hours, I started collecting it digitally. And that's another thing that I'm going to be doing is collecting digital manga as well, because I've decided that I really love reading manga on my Kindle Paperwhite. I'm sorry you are shaking. I need a drink. Anyways, After Hours is this manga, and that's what I forgot to grab. I forgot to grab my Kindle Paperwhite, which is over on my desk. I'm not going to do it now. I've done this video so many times. Anyways, After Hours is a manga about these 2 women who meet in a nightclub, and it's their story of how they kind of immediately connect and fall in love, and how they go about their days. I haven't been giving the star ratings. Dang it. Okay, Last Son, obviously 5 stars. A Man and His Cat, 4.75 stars. Okay. After Hours, I've been collecting this manga for years. I've been wanting to finish it for years. I finally was just like, it's not that expensive, just buy it. So I bought it, and I loved it, and I'm really glad that I got it, because I absolutely fell in love with it. After Hours Volume 1 was 4 stars, After Hours Volume 2 was 4.5 stars, and After Hours Volume 3 was 5 stars. I think that the ending was good. There's not, when it comes to manga and you're reading stories, especially with romance, there's not a lot of, like, adult stories where both of the characters are adults, like these 2 characters are, and I think that it showed this really amazing way of how sometimes you can find yourself through a relationship, and you can find who you want to be and what you want to do and how you want to live your life, and how sometimes meeting the right person can make you realize your dreams, and how they are sometimes not something that you ever thought that they were going to be. And I really loved it, and I thought that it was fantastic. So yeah, After Hours, amazing, loved it, loved it. Kind of want to reread it again, actually, but not going to just yet. Okay, the next thing that I read was okay, the entire I Hear the Sunspot series. So I Hear the Sunspot, if you don't know what the series is about, it is a college romance series between these two guys. Their names are Kohei and Taichi. And they are both, it's a really good story, okay? It's, Kohei is deaf or hard of hearing technically, but he's losing his hearing completely, and they meet by random chance, and it's more than just like a romance. It's also about going through the world with this thing about yourself that other people don't always understand, or if they try to understand it, they don't always get it right, and finding this one person who does just have sympathy and just wants to understand more. And it's also about these themes of finding yourself and, like, again, finding what you want to do because of somebody that you love. And it's really good. It's very bittersweet. The first volume of 5 stars I gave I Hear the Sunspot Theory of Happiness 5 stars. I Hear the Sunspot Limit Volume 1 is 4.75 stars. I Hear the Sunspot Limit Volume 2 is 4 stars. I hate miscommunication, and that's a very big theme in this volume. And then I Hear the Sunspot Limit Volume 3 is 5 stars. Very, very good. I love this series a lot. I cannot wait for the next series, because technically this is a standalone, and then this is a series, and then there's going to be another series, and I'm so excited about it. I love this one so much. Love it. Okay. It's falling. Okay. Next up, we have another series that I finally, after years, completed, and that is Sweet Blue Flowers. Sweet Blue Flowers is a Yuri manga series set in high school, and these girls going to an all-girl high school, and there's a bunch of themes in this one that I did not particularly like, but in the end I really liked this series. I read the first one in February and then the other 3 in March. So Sweet Blue Flowers follows these 2 girls and their lives, and then their lives throughout high school. And Fumi, who knows that she is a lesbian, going to an all-girls school and finding love, but also meeting her best friend again, who was her first love. And it's it's a bittersweet series full of drama, and it's one of those Yuri series where there's just some themes where I'm like, what? And then you find out that it's actually written by a woman, and then you're like, okay. Those are some kinks that I didn't need to know that the author had. But anyways, it's just it's so drama-filled, and I actually wanted to know more about this girl's life later on in the series, and then we don't get that, and it is what it is. Overall, I really did like this series, but none of the volumes had above a 4.5 stars. So first volume was 4.25 stars, second volume was 4 stars, third volume was 4.25 stars, and then fourth volume was 4 stars. Overall, I did like the series. I'm glad to have it in my collection. I didn't hate it at all. It was just a lot of drama. They're even in drama class. Could this be considered light academia? This is light academia, but with some darker notes. I just don't think it's full-on dark academia because it doesn't have horrendously dark themes. It does have a happy ending, although it does have miscommunication and, like, miscommunication with your own self, and that is, again, something that isn't my favorite trope. Okay, next up, I read My Androgynous Boyfriend Volume 3. I love this series so much. It is a series that is about a couple and how the main, the woman is like the breadwinner and the man is like kind of a fashionista, and he has like a makeup channel, YouTube channel, and he's a model and an influencer, and it's really cute and adorable, and it's how they love each other very, very much. And yeah, I don't know, I just love the story, and I think it's really sweet. And it's one of those series where it starts off with the main couple being together, and there's no drama about them not being together within the main couple. Like, some people are like, no, but it's really good and sweet. And I think they bought a fridge in this one. Wasn't that something they did in this volume? I thought they bought a fridge in this volume, and it was just like a really sweet little story, and I love it. I love it. I gave this one a 4.7 stars. 5 stars. Okay, next we have April. What I read in April. Oh, that was everything. That was everything that I read in March. Okay, in April, the first thing that I read was Kaiju number 8. I actually picked this up at Walmart. I'm still waiting for the second one to come out at Walmart because I've not been into a Barnes & Noble since like November. Okay, Kaiju number 8. I'm sure a lot of people have been talking about this one because it's been everywhere that I've seen, and I really do like it. I just really want the next volume. Anyways, it's about this guy who works in monster guts cleanup, and he wants to become a kaiju fighter, and something happens with him, and now he gets the chance to work with his childhood best friend. And I think I gave this a 4 stars. It was good. I really like the art. I really want to read the second volume. Okay. I have never talked about this before in my life, but we're going to talk about webcomics. I only took one picture of it from my iPad, and that is Starfighter. I love Starfighter. I started reading Starfighter when I was way too young. I started reading it when the second chapter was still being put out. So I think I was like 15 or 16. But anyways, I read Starfighter chapter 1, which I gave a 3.5 stars. And then I read Starfighter chapter 2, which I gave 4 stars. I love Starfighter. I reread it like once a year. Okay, next I read The Case Study of Vanitas, Volume 1. Vampires, steampunk, mysterious book of spells that can make vampires stop being bad. I like this one. I only have the first 4 volumes, and I do want to catch up with it. And I've only really reread this one. Love the art style. I gave it a 4 stars. Okay, next I read The Darkness Outside of Us. I read this through Libby. I loved this book. I gave this a 4.5 stars. I don't know what to say about this book without spoiling any of it. It was just excellent. I really liked it. If you have trigger warnings, I would look at those, but they aren't the trigger warnings that you think I'm thinking of. But it was really good. It was really good. I think I figured out what was happening in the first chapter, though. I think I figured it out, so that was spoiled for me, but at the same time I really liked it still. Next, I read the 3rd, 4th, and 5th chapters of Starfighter. Chapter 3 was a 4 star, chapter 4 was a 4.5 star, and then chapter 5 was a 5 star. This comic, I'm saying this right now, if you know Hamlet Machine, you know that they make dark content that is smut. So this whole comic started off as them practicing their anatomy, so it's literally just all smut, except for the 3rd or 4th chapter has a lot of plot in it. So yes, don't go into this expecting some fun happy time. It's about these 2 guys. They're in a space military, basically, and it's just all smut. I'm past the point of caring. If my family finds this, I would care, but strangers on the internet, I don't care. I'm not showing anything sexual. That's all that it is. It's a smutty webcomic that I love. Anyways, next we have The Goldfinch in this beautiful mass market paperback. I started reading this in March, and I read like a chapter and a half in March. No, I read like 2 chapters in March. What am I talking about? I read like 2.5 chapters in March, and then I did not pick it up for the entirety of April, and then in May, this last week, I picked it up 2 Saturdays ago, and then I read the entire thing by Tuesday. Anyways, I loved it. I gave it a 4.75 stars, although now I'm thinking it might be a 5. Nah, 4.75 feels nice. Loved this book. And that's it. That's all I've read so far this year. All I've read. I'm currently reading Dracula, but I mostly was just catching up with Dracula to start reading Dracula daily, which is the email list where every day there's an entry in Jonathan's diary. They send you a email of what it's containing, but also I don't know if I'm actually going to read the emails or if I'm going to use the emails as reminders to read an entry. So I will be possibly reading this until November, which is a lot to take in, but also I'm not sure if I'm doing that or if I'm just going to continue reading it. It is what it is. I also yesterday started The Foxhole Court, which again is my favorite book, but I'm not sure if I'm going to read that or not. I have a very long TBR right now. I might be making a video about that. So we'll see. We'll see if I make that video or not. That was it. That was this entire video. Going back to the one take wonder way of filming, because I tried filming and like editing and using my new iPhone to edit. I've had it for a year, but I don't have any extended storage, so it's not letting me do that. I hope it's still filming. That would suck if it stopped filming. But yeah, that's it. That's all that this is. I'm gonna film again. That's all that there is to it. And I've still never learned how to end a YouTube video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did watch.